know what was written when, but the introduction of Emperor Goddamn Palpatine in Episode 9 feels like a desperate attempt to give people who hated The Last Jedi a nostalgia high right off the bat. Who watched the first two movies and thought, somehow Emperor Palpatine figures into this? Who is he fighting? They look like kindly baby Yoda types. They're all like half Jawa, half Ewok. Jawoks? Who are they, and what did they do to piss off Kylo Ren? Well, you might care as I do, but the movie does not. You move on, you're too old, let it go. Nobody listens to techno, now let's go. In the middle of the woods of some random planet, there's a star map to where Emperor Palpatine is. It's called a Sith Wayfinder, and it may be the dumbest thing ever put in a Star Wars film. Why would a Sith create a map to his location? As powerful as Palpatine and Kylo are, can't Palpatine communicate this via the Force? And how did Kylo know this device was on this planet? Wait, there are ports compatible with stuff on your ship you can plug into the Sith Wayfinder? And why do you need 4 photo plugs for this thing anyway?
I have died before. The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
That is literally all the explanation this movie cares to give about the return of Palpatine. Also, it's weird that you have this technology to clone yourself, and instead of being a young Palpatine, you're the same old Palpatine that got thrown into the Death Star shaft in Return of the Jedi.
What could you give me?
Everything.
Earlier in this conversation, Emperor Palpatine said the First Order was just the beginning. I can give you so much more. Now he's like, I'll give you everything. And all of this is just vague enough to ask, what exactly do any of these Sith assholes actually want? It's not money, not sex. If power is the main goal, what do they want to use that power for? If the ultimate goal is to shape the universe into an evil spiral of wickedness, then is the power just being used for their entertainment value? Like, I hated King Joffrey on Game of Thrones, but we knew that his power was a means to satisfy his own amusement. I don't know what the hell these guys want.
The might of the final order will soon be ready.
Some of our software has some buggy code, and a lot of the stuff we promised at the Expo of Evil won't be in the final product, but our launch will still go better than that Warcraft 3 remake. More of the Wookiee playing holographic space chess. That's what fresh Star Wars looks like, kids. The same, just with a twist of lime, aka the same thing. Meanwhile, at the Fortress of Hothitude...
Get us back to base! How thick do you think that ice wall is?
What are you talking about? There were a handful of TIE fighters in front of you before you said that. It's bad enough that this kind of force can't shoot down the Millennium Falcon, but it's even worse that the movie totally forgets about what is directly in front of the heroes after one single cut. Oh, they came out of hyperspace right onto Billy Idol's scalp. Also, they pop out of hyperspace in a super dangerous situation, which is something I always wondered about with the original trilogy. But I long ago made peace with the fact that the ship's computers calculate for possible collision and route the hyperspace journey around any danger. Then this movie comes along.
What are you doing? Light speed skipping! How do you know how to do that?
First off, if light speed skipping is a thing, then Poe, one of the preeminent pilots in the galaxy, would know how to do that. But second off, light speed skipping...
Be with me.
Be with me. Is she talking to Luke, or is she anthropomorphizing the Force? Be with me. Sounds like a Michelle Branch song title from 2003. She's played this level several times before, and it's obvious. This is practically a speed run. This jump is far less impressive when you see that it takes 2 different shots of her physically jumping off the log and 3 cuts to make it happen. Yeah. Reggie Jackson.
I know it looks like I'm making excuses.
Don't tell me what things look like. Tell me what they are.
I love Carrie Fisher. We all do, but JJ's insistence on keeping her an important part of this final Skywalker film, despite her untimely death, ultimately hurts the story and the overall presentation of this final film. These inserted pre-existing footage shots of her are ridiculously awkward. They remind me a lot of when they did that with Tony's mom in The Sopranos.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Writer's room reaction to JJ's big idea gets filmed and included as an actual scene in the movie.
There are ciphers here I can't read.
Bummer.
But he said to get there you need one of these.
Wait, what the
They're compasses that lead the way to Exegol.
So what you're telling me is that this movie is ripping off the primary MacGuffin from the Pirates of the Caribbean? A compass?
I'm gonna pick up Luke's search for Exegol. I'm gonna start where his trail went cold.
Never mind that this scavenger hunt needs to be successful in 16 hours, which is the time frame the movie gave for the Emperor's attack on the Free Worlds.
The General asked me to study the specs of old destroyers, so we can stop the fleet if you find it.
Yeah, knowing the specs of the old destroyers will surely help you to destroy 18 million supposedly new destroyers. Ah, the Knights of Ren are back.
Knights of Ren. Ghouls.
See, they even had to include dialogue to remind viewers who these guys were, because they were absent the entire previous film. Also, so JJ made Force Awakens and Rian Johnson was like, well, that was good, but it's a New Hope all over again. I want to take Star Wars in new directions. And JJ sees The Last Jedi and says, what the f***, Ryan? You threw out everything I did. I'm bringing it all back, damn it. And Kathleen Kennedy sat at a table counting money like Gus Van Sant and Jay and Silent Bob saying, not now, Ben, I'm busy. And Colin Trevorrow was over in the corner raising his hand saying, I am job. A Sith baddie uses the Force to choke a mouthy cabinet member, and we are just playing all the hits here, people. If you dig that, take out your masturbation assistance devices now. Strange that we couldn't hear that crowd until they got around that rock.
She would be honored to know your family name, too.
Oh, give me a break. We get it! Ray longs for familial connection. I feel like JJ wrote this script on autopilot, then ran it by a bunch of first-year film school students for a touch-up. That necklace snatching is so dramatic, I'm surprised it didn't lead to the death of Bruce Wayne's parents.
Sir, we've had this analyzed. It comes from the Midian system. Pasana, Forbidden Valley.
You analyzed a bead necklace, and it gave you the exact location? I'm shocked it didn't at least offer up the possibility of New Orleans.
Leia sent me a transmission.
Leia sent you a transmission, but didn't send the others a transmission to look for you? Why wouldn't setting up a meeting between Lando and the others be the plan from the get-go? Instead, Rey walks around the festival, gets a bead necklace, plays herself when Kylo reaches into the void and grabs it for analysis, and gets attacked by stormtroopers, all because they couldn't set up a meeting in the first place.
Only 2 were made.
A Sith Wayfinder.
I still don't know why they made these things, but if they wanted Sith to be able to find this place, why would they only make 2? This is like God only giving Moses 1 copy of the 10 Commandments.
Luke Skywalker came here to find one.
I know. I was with him. Luke and I were tailing an old Jedi hunter.
No, you weren't. You think moody-ass loner Luke decided to call Lando up to track down a Jedi hunter? I'm not buying it. But look, I get it. You wanted to put Lando in your movie. You wanted the cheering and the applause.
I got a bad feeling about this.
God damn it all to hell. Stop re-hitting all the beats, JJ. This is like having Spock yell Khan instead of Kirk.
How do you know how to do that?
Why does Finn keep asking Poe questions about his ability to know things about the very thing in which he is an expert?
They fly now!
They fly now? They fly now!
Excitement? Also, did everyone forget about Boba Fett? He flew without combat. He flew without net. He flew long before these dudes even met. And he set the flight bar that these fools just forget. No one will be seated during the Mad Max Fury Road portion of the film.
Never underestimate a droid!
Jesus.
The hell is this?
It's quicksand, the oldest trick in the false tension book. Just like that one Harry Potter film, the real answer here ends up being to let go and allow yourself to be swallowed by the vine's quicksand, which is, I guess, exciting?
Luke sensed it. Ochi never left this place.
So tell me again how Luke ran into a dead end when looking for this guy, if he could sense him. Wouldn't the Force tell him where this guy ended up? Let me put it this way, if we watched a Star Wars movie where Luke was looking for this guy, he'd use the Force to find out that his body was in the ground underneath the quicksand. We wouldn't even bat an eye that he found him, but this movie is trying to say he just gave up after searching Ochi's ship with Lando. After falling through the quicksand into a system of caves, they find the magical dagger of truth that ultimately helps Rey find her way later, and I just have to say, quicksand ex machina, am I right? Because, Jesus. How did you find it? I literally fell on it.
I know exactly where the Wayfinder is. Unfortunately, it is written in the runic language of the Sith.
So what?
My programming forbids me from translating it.
God damn it. Oh yeah, that's right. Rey knows parcel tongue.
I just transferred a bit of life. Force energy from me to him.
But can you get that back somehow? Does it regenerate like a special move bar in a video game? So they parked their ship here and then climbed down into a trench, then climbed up onto a mesa because the Knights of Ren are cinematic? If they wanted a good view, they could have stayed on the higher peak where their ship is. Kylo survives this. Well, that was pretty badass.
There was another transport in the desert. It brought back a valuable prisoner.
I'm happy that Chewbacca isn't dead, but how the did Rey and everybody else miss the fact that there was a second transport? It was sitting right there next to the other transport. How didn't they see the other one fly off? And Rey couldn't sense Chewbacca was alive?
The beast used to fly with Han Solo.
Who gives a if he used to fly with Han Solo? You do know he's with the other people you're looking for, right? His relationship to Han Solo means about as much to this movie as the fact that Donald Gleason was an ex machina with Oscar Isaac.
Let's do that. I know a black market droidsmith. For Chewie.
Really wish C-3PO would die. He hasn't been funny or fun since the original trilogy, and even then he was pushing it.
Hello.
Yes, because BB-8 needed a boyfriend. This is like playing Rainbow Six Rogue Spear. And don't any of you modern Rainbow Six or Ghost Recon bitches even start with me about how old that reference makes me sound. I'm old, I don't care, and I could kick your ass at a Rogue Spear Grenades Only run right now. I don't understand why everybody had to go on this mission. Aren't you easier to spot when you're in a crew that includes 3 droids?
We make him translate it, he won't remember
Anything.
Sounds good to me. Let's go. What are we pausing to consider this for? Let's go! Leroy Jenkins!
Doesn't R2 back up your memory?
Oh, please. R2 storage units are famously unreliable.
And that's all the movie has to say about that.
If this mission fails, it was all for nothing.
Is it just me, or is more than 16 hours gone by at this point?
We sent out a call for help at the Battle of Crate. Nobody came.
Did you ever wonder if there was a problem with your signal or transmission, and not that people didn't care?
Gotta go now. Did we get it? Babu?
Yep, droid is ready.
Perfect timing, dude.
Chewie?
What about him?
He's on my ship.
Oh, now you can sense him. Also, it would have been way better for the movie for the reveal that he's alive to happen here, and not some bull scene with General Hux.
Oh! Might get you on a capital ship.
Thank God she had this, and that she was willing to give it to Poe, even though she'd been carrying it for years, waiting for a way out herself. She's basically female alien helmeted Jesus, and being played by Kerry Russell, I'd bow down to her.
Search the city again. She's close.
For a guy that can steal her necklace during visions, he sure is dumb about where and how to find her, even when he's close. People that were just shooting to kill our heroes suddenly decide to take them prisoner. This actually happens a lot in Star Wars movies, but it goes largely unnoticed. Look, I get it when Kylo grabs a necklace and Force steals it from one world to another. I do not get it when they smash the Darth Vader pedestal and somehow the image of only his mask transports to another place. They can apparently only see each other and not their surroundings, so how does any of this work?
You are a Palpatine.
You know why this is a surprise? Because nobody can imagine Emperor Palpatine having sex. And now I have a million questions about the backstory of this whole thing that I am sure is explained in a book or a comic or something. And Palpatine finding out about Rey occurred after his death, by the way. I know he was cloned, but who told him he had a granddaughter while he spent his days on that distant planet? If you say the Force, then why wasn't he able to locate her and kill her while she ran around scavenging on Jakku? If you say one of his minions kept tabs on Palpatine's son, I'll call you a liar, because there's no way Palpatine anybody and had a kid. All I've got to say is this is entirely too much work to hide a Sith Wayfinder thing that shouldn't even exist in the first place. Somebody came out here, wrote down some coordinates, drew a picture, and then said, I shall construct a blade from the outline of this drawing and then engrave those coordinates in the Sith language that nobody except Siths and C-3PO can read. Why a blade? I don't know. I just do what the cocaine tells me.
We can go first light tomorrow. We can't wait that long. We don't have the time.
Is it just me, or is more than 16 hours gone by at this point?
You were First Order?
Not by choice. We were conscripted as kids. All of us.
Once again, this movie would have been just fine without.
She took a skimmer?
Yeah, I know. Like, if she can make herself levitate, why can't she just fly there? Interstellar wave is interstellar.
Well, I'm not Leia. That's for damn sure.
Are we really doing this protagonist fight before the big finish cliche here?
There's another skimmer.
Sounds about right. Seriously, with all the stuff that Rey has to do to navigate this Death Star wreckage to get the Wayfinder, the people who hid it could have told people where it was and they still couldn't have found it. Man, Rey working her way through this wreckage to find the Wayfinder is the best Tomb Raider movie ever made. Whoa, it's like you got some Empire Strikes Back in my Rise of Skywalker. It's like metaphorical and stuff.
The only way you're getting to Exegol is with me.
I have been through too much with this Wayfinder to just have Kylo smash it. Entirely, deeply too much. This whole movie has been about Rey trying to find this thing. Now Kylo smashes it, as if all the that happens in the movie after this can't happen without it. I think, yeah, I'm gonna add 100 cents for this. Sure, yada yada the out of how the fight went from the main Emperor's chamber in the wreckage to out here on a floating piece of jetsam. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm actually bored with this lightsaber battle. What do we think is going to actually happen here? Every lightsaber battle in the original trilogy seemed consequential. Obi-Wan dying, Luke losing his hand, and the negotiation between good and evil itself. This one? Yeah, Rey's going to stab Kylo when Leia distracts him, but Rey's going to heal him immediately afterward. This is a laser show. Play some Pink Floyd and maybe I'll pay attention. Why does she decide to heal him again? Because his death makes Leia sad? Because he had his shirt off that one time? If she didn't want to hurt him or kill him, what was all that yawn burger lightsaber battling for? It wasn't self-defense. Man, that Rage Ocean sure took a time out while these two had this long private moment, didn't it? Hand service.
The Princess of Alderaan has disrupted my plan.
And just when I thought this movie was going to avoid resorting to one hologram, here it is in all its glory. What's remarkable is that in this world, 30 plus years have gone by and there's still glitchy eyesores. Man, all the bad guys ever want to do in these movies is blow up planets. And I guess it's cool, but I've seen enough exploding planets in these movies to not be moved by them anymore.
Does that mean every ship in the fleet has planet-killing weapons? Of course they do.
This reminds me of that story by Hans Christian Andersen, where two screenwriters promise the Emperor that they'll give him an imagination, but then they decide not to give him one at all. They just tell him it's there. And then everybody claims that the Emperor has an imagination because they don't want to look stupid, until a kid observes him and says, but he doesn't have an imagination at all.
We had each other. That's how we won.
Family.
This droid has a ton of information about Exegol.
Like St. Peter on a pizza, this convenient got to stop. And so help me fancy Moses, if you start with me on that, it's the Force. This is just lazy writing. And the Star Wars farewell tour continues. Coming up next, Porkins, Mace Windu, the ghost of Anakin Skywalker from the original trilogy before they replaced him with Hayden Christensen, and a fantastic cover band called There Can Be Obi-Wan. The name sounds apt, but it's not. Also, apparently Jedi ghosts can handle physical objects now. This really raises questions as to why Yoda and Obi-Wan couldn't help out with the cause after they died.
Because you're a Palpatine. Leia knew it too.
I am exhausted at what the Force can and can't tell Jedis or Siths. Rey had no idea she was a Palpatine, but Luke and Leia knew somehow. I know the Force can tap into other people's thoughts and feelings, but family lineage?
Some things are stronger than blood.
Duh! You are the son of the evil Darth Vader, you numbnuts! How the is this a lesson anyone in the universe needs to learn? Everyone knows about how you were good, even though your dad was, you know what, 50 cents, because some things are stronger than stupid dialogue, like the sin counter. Yeah, you can darken the screen and light the scene only with a blue lightsaber, and this digitally youngin' Leia still looks pretty creepy. Is it just me, or is more than 16 hours gone by at this point? Also, the fans may love it that Luke finally got a chance to lift his ship out of some water after completely failing to do so in The Empire Strikes Back. But I better see an army of goddamn Jedi ghosts coming to fight the Emperor after this. That asshole Qui-Gon and the dude with the 3-foot neck better be there, lightsabers drawn.
You want to put what in my head? Under no circumstances.
Well, that was a quick edit, but it's still the character insists they won't do the thing only to do the thing cliche.
Are you seeing these Atmo readings?
Did he just say Atmo instead of atmosphere? Because that's Opno.
They can't activate their shields until they leave atmosphere.
But why?
We think hitting the cannons might ignite the main reactors.
If there's anything I learned from watching the 9 main Star Wars films, it's that the Empire First Order didn't learn a goddamn thing over a 60-year time span. Sure, it's great that our heroes can find minute weaknesses that help them level the playing field, but it's disappointing story-wise that the villains always underestimated their opponents. Over the course of 1 trilogy, I get it. Over the course of 3 trilogies, especially this one, it's tiresome.
We need to pull some holdo maneuvers. Do some real damage.
Is Mary Brandybuck here seriously suggesting a strategy of mass suicide?
Not today. Today we make our last stand.
Oh my god. 1 million of these Star Destroyers shoot 500 million ion cannons at this small resistance force, and somehow it's not a huge disaster for the resistance.
The nav signal is coming from that command ship. That's our drop zone.
How do you know?
A feeling.
They're riding horse thingies on top of a spaceship. Hey boss, how big do you want to make that facehugger throne? Bigger!
Your hatred, your anger. You want to kill me. That is what I want.
I feel like in Star Wars Episode 18 we'll be seeing this exact scene yet again, because Star Wars never changes. It'll be right after Disney hands the reins to Star Wars to Cal L. Cage, who will make Episode 17 using motion capture on his 85-year-old dad to play every single character of the movie, including the werewolves. This is a cool action shot, but I'm still having a hard time figuring out why Finn can just kneel out in the open like this and not get shot.
Weak. Like your parents.
My parents were strong.
Jedi skip! Again with the look at the ships as your friends are dying routine? This guy has one shtick. One.
She will take her revenge.
This whole setup seems phony. In the original trilogy, we could actually see Luke getting angrier, and slipping into the dark side seemed to be a possibility, even though we knew it wouldn't happen. Rey has never really seemed like the angry type. The Emperor really seems to think sitting on this throne out in the unknown regions is super appealing enough to sell your soul. Okay, this is probably the coolest scene in the movie, but even with the dyad nature, how is this possible? The way this has worked throughout the last couple of movies is they can talk to each other, read each other's thoughts, even grab things in front of them, and even see images of things that might be around them. But when did they perfect this wireless transfer of lightsabers? Even if this is possible, wouldn't you need to work on this? Wouldn't it require just a tad of training to do this in such a cinematically pleasing manner? Kylo is actually doing a better job killing the Knights of Ren than Rian Johnson did.
There's just too many of them.
But there are more of us, Poe. There are more of us.
Did this huge fleet really get here just now? Just in time to hear Poe giving up, but not in time to help out before this? Snap was depending on you, Lando! Snap was depending on you! Also, how the did all these assholes navigate that narrow and twisty hellscape that you have to go through to get here? I really do think some of these dicks have been sitting here for a long time waiting for Lando to make his grand entrance. Lando. The Emperor, with considerable power at his fingertips, says, I'll let gravity decide this. I'm taking a sin off because this is rad, but movie should consider itself lucky that I'm still awake right now to even see it.
Ray.
bring back the balance, Rey, as I did.
This is a nice pep talk from all the Jedi ghosts, and it gets Rey back up on her feet, but what I really want at this point is for all these voices to get off their lazy asses and fight, because that's the problem with showing Ghost Luke grabbing a lightsaber earlier. He opened up the possibility of dead Jedi coming to the fight, and I don't want it to happen on a larger scale now. This whole movie is fan service. Why can't there be ghosts of all our favorite Jedis kicking ass at the end of this movie? Once again, Star Wars finds a loophole in the kill the Emperor but become evil rule. They set up this impossible thing where if you kill the Emperor, no matter your level of anger, you become a dick like he does. So in Return of the Jedi, Darth Vader throws him down a shaft so Luke doesn't have to do it. And this one, I guess it's because the Emperor's own lightning is melting him. The little arrangement of killing the Emperor and becoming the Emperor doesn't work anymore.
I see him!
You do not. I guess we'll just forget about Finn and Jen on top of the Falcon as it flies vertically away from this wreckage. They have a strong foothold. This Kylo isn't dead scene might be more impactful if we actually knew how far he fell down this chasm of nothingness and how he even survived that. Kylo's never used this power before, so of course on the first try he resurrects Rey from the dead. Oh, ew. What? Also, let me get this straight. He heals her, and then that zaps him of all his life? And she can't heal him back because she's too weak? Did she act too slowly? When Rey was dead, why didn't she just disappear? Did the Force know that Kylo was going to Ben Solo up the Sith chasm to save her? I guess no matter what happens anywhere, you can always see the aftermath from Endor's forest moon somewhere. Also, Ewoks.
This is for you.
Yeah, Chewie, now you deserve this medal. After 30 plus years, someone's finally giving you one. Not because of anything you did in this movie, but because of fan service. Seriously, I hope it's actually chocolate. Now have a threesome.
Rey Skywalker.
This movie is pretty average. The ending is great.
Artax, you're sinking! Come on, turn around!
Make sure you click that bell icon.
Sellouts.
But clicking the little bell icon is how you make sure you get notified every time we release a video. So click it.
Sellouts.
Hey, I think somebody just shot a torpedo at us.
Must go faster.
Then the time come for you to be your own man and take on the world, and you did. But somewhere along the line, you changed.
This. We can dance for a little bit, and if you don't like the way I dance, you can kick me.
How'd you find us?
Colt 45. It works every time.
Don't you stick that knife in your leg.
Is that the best you can do? You're gonna have to kill me! Just stay alive!
I will find you.
There's just too many of them.
But there are more of us, Poe. There are more of us.
On your left.